If you're over 60 and still eating these four everyday foods, I want you to stop immediately. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because these aren't just comfort foods, they're quietly wrecking the very systems your body depends on. Your blood flow, your hormones, even your prostate. They don't just make you tired, they weaken your grip, dull your drive, and slowly chip away at your strength, one bite at a time. I've seen too many men, veterans, grandfathers, husbands, lose their vitality not from aging, but from something far more preventable, what's on their plate. And here's the part that might upset you the most. These foods, they're not even seen as dangerous. In fact, some are promoted as healthy, low fat, heart friendly, doctor approved. But for the aging male body, they are anything but safe. And the longer you keep them in your routine, the more damage they cause under the surface. So let me ask you, what if the foods you trusted all these years were the very reason you feel slower, heavier, less like yourself? Because today, I'll expose the four worst offenders hiding in your kitchen. And I'll show you the powerful, simple swaps that can restore your strength, support your blood flow, and reignite that feeling of vitality from the inside out. This isn't about fear, it's about taking back control. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara. I'm a physician, a men's health specialist, and for over 30 years, I've worked with thousands of men just like you, men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond who came to me thinking, maybe this is just what getting old feels like. But here's what I've learned, and what I need you to hear. Aging doesn't have to mean slowing down, losing your strength, or watching your confidence fade. In fact, most of what we blame on age, fatigue, poor circulation, low testosterone, isn't caused by the number on your birthday cake. It's caused by what you eat every day, often without realizing it. That's why in this video, I'm going to walk you through the four common foods that are quietly harming older men, foods I tell my own patients to avoid, and the four powerful, affordable alternatives that can help you reclaim your strength, protect your circulation, and even revive your performance where it matters most. If you're a man over 60 and you care about staying strong, sharp, and independent, stay with me. And if anything I share here hits home, if it helps you see your health in a new light, just type 1 in the comments. That's how I know you're here and that this message matters. Let's start with one of the most dangerous and deceptive foods still sitting on too many breakfast plates across America: processed meats. I'm talking about bacon, sausage, deli slices, hot dogs, the kinds of things that feel like tradition, the kind of food you grew up on, maybe even passed down to your own kids. But here's the truth. For men over 60, these aren't just familiar, they're harmful. I remember a patient of mine, let's call him George, a 67-year-old retired firefighter, big, solid hands, a man who'd never complained in his life. But when he sat in my office, he looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Doc, something's wrong. I'm tired all the time. My blood pressure's through the roof, and I don't feel like myself anymore." George thought it was just aging. I thought otherwise. We looked at his habits, and there it was. Every morning started with bacon or sausage, lunch, usually a ham sandwich, dinner, sometimes hot dogs at the ball game. These weren't just meals. They were memories, comfort, but they were also tearing his body down. Here's what most men don't realize. Processed meats are loaded with preservatives, sodium, nitrates, and saturated fat. These compounds inflame your arteries, interfere with nitric oxide, the molecule your body uses to relax blood vessels and promote healthy blood flow. And they raise blood pressure like a ticking time bomb. In fact, studies show that eating just 50 grams of processed meat per day, about 2 slices of bacon, increases your risk of heart disease by 18%. And that's not all. Nitrates in these meats can convert into nitrosamines in your body. Compounds linked not just to heart disease, but to cancers, including prostate cancer. When George and I reviewed all this, I told him plainly, if you keep eating like this, you're not just risking fatigue, you're risking your independence. He took it seriously. We replaced the bacon with wild-caught salmon, the deli meats with home-cooked chicken breast. I asked him to try it for 3 weeks. And what happened? He called me. Doc, I feel like I got 10 years back. Because when you stop inflaming your blood vessels and start nourishing them, they respond, they open, they flow. So here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, skip the sausage, grill a piece of salmon, or even try sardines packed in olive oil with some chopped veggies. You don't need a prescription, you need better fuel. There's something comforting about the smell of toast in the morning, isn't there? Or a soft white sandwich for lunch, maybe a muffin with coffee in the afternoon. For many men I talk to, especially those over 60, these foods feel like home. They're familiar, easy, gentle, but here's what they're not: harmless. Let me tell you about Carl. He was 72, soft-spoken, a widower. He came in not because of pain, but because he felt foggy, sluggish. His energy was fading, and he was embarrassed to admit that things in the bedroom just weren't working the way they used to. He walked daily, didn't drink, never smoked. On paper, he was doing everything right. But then we looked at his meals: toast with jam in the morning, crackers with lunch, a cookie at night, all white refined carbs. Here's why that matters. These foods, while soft and subtle, hit your system like sugar bombs. They're stripped of fiber. They digest quickly. And once inside, they spike your blood sugar, flood your insulin, and inflame your blood vessels. That roller coaster, up, down, wreaks havoc on your hormones. Over time, this leads to reduced testosterone, increased belly fat, and a tired, foggy mind. And it doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in slowly, until one day, like Carl, you realize you're not feeling like yourself anymore. We ran his labs. His testosterone was below normal. His inflammatory markers were high. His blood sugar unstable. So I showed him a better way. Instead of toast, we switched to steel-cut oats, slow digesting, high in soluble fiber, a food that steadies blood sugar instead of spiking it. We topped it with chia seeds, cinnamon, and a few blueberries, each one helping boost nitric oxide, reduce inflammation, and fuel his brain. For variety, I also introduced him to Ezekiel bread, made from sprouted grains, packed with protein and fiber, and without the sugar spike that white bread delivers. He gave it a shot. 3 weeks later, he came back with brighter eyes and steadier energy. It's like the fog lifted, he said. I didn't even realize how off I felt until I started feeling good again. So let me ask you, what's on your plate this morning? Because instead of reaching for what's familiar and fast, what if you chose something that fuels you? What if your breakfast didn't just fill your stomach, but lit up your mind? Just because something says low fat or heart healthy on the label doesn't mean it's helping you. In fact, one of the worst offenders for older men doesn't come from a bakery or butcher. It comes from your microwave. Let's talk about frozen dinners, canned soups, and other convenience meals. The kind that feel quick, easy, safe. But for your blood vessels, they're anything but safe. I remember Alan, 69, recently retired, living alone. He chuckled when he said, "Doc, my microwave's my best friend these days." But behind that laugh, I heard something deeper. A man trying his best to eat right, but unknowingly doing harm. Here's the problem: sodium. Most frozen meals and canned soups are loaded with it. A single serving can contain 1,200 to 2,000 milligrams of sodium, sometimes more. That's nearly your entire daily limit in one tray of healthy turkey dinner. And if you're eating like that every day, your blood pressure doesn't stand a chance. But that's just the beginning. High sodium pulls water into your bloodstream, increasing blood volume and forcing your heart to work harder. It stiffens your arteries, reduces nitric oxide, and makes it harder for blood to flow, especially to places where blood flow really matters. Alan was starting to feel the consequences. His legs were heavier, his sleep interrupted by frequent trips to the bathroom, his energy depleted. He thought it was aging, but I showed him the numbers. Then I gave him a challenge. For 1 week, cook one meal a day from scratch, lean protein, some vegetables, a whole grain, and instead of using table salt or relying on sodium-packed boxes, I told him to use just a pinch of pink Himalayan or sea salt. Why? Because those salts still contain vital trace minerals like magnesium and potassium, nutrients that actually help blood vessels relax. It didn't take long. Within days, his swelling reduced, his blood pressure dropped, he slept more deeply, and most importantly, he started to feel like himself again. So if your pantry's full of cans and boxes, just try this. One meal, one pan, real ingredients, a light touch of natural salt. Your arteries will notice, and so will your energy, because food can be fast, or it can be healing, but rarely both. We've all heard it. Milk builds strong bones. And for decades, dairy has been promoted as a cornerstone of health. A glass of milk with dinner, yogurt with breakfast, a scoop of ice cream after a long day. But here's what you may not have been told. The kind of dairy most men over 60 are consuming today isn't the same dairy our parents grew up with. Let me tell you about Richard. He was 74, a retired teacher, proud grandfather of 5. On paper, he looked healthy. No diabetes, decent cholesterol, stayed active, but he came to me with a quiet heaviness. "Doc," he said, "I don't feel like a man anymore." Not in pain, not depressed, but flat, sluggish, like something vital had gone dim. We looked at his habits. He started every morning with cereal and milk, snacked on cheese, ate yogurt daily, ice cream a few nights a week. All of it sounded reasonable, normal. But the dairy lining most store shelves today isn't just milk. It's milk from cows often treated with synthetic hormones like RBGH, a growth hormone that forces cows to produce more. And here's the kicker. Those synthetic hormones don't just disappear when the milk leaves the cow. Traces remain. And when they enter your body, especially your aging, hormone-sensitive body, they can act like estrogen. They disrupt your balance, lower free testosterone, inflame the prostate, and slowly chip away at your masculine edge. Richard was living proof. He didn't feel like himself. And it wasn't age. It was hormone confusion from what he was putting on his plate. So we made a switch. I asked him to remove conventional dairy. Instead, he used organic, hormone-free Greek yogurt, plain, unsweetened, and swapped milk for almond or oat milk, fortified with calcium and vitamin D. Within 2 weeks, the puffiness in his face reduced, his digestion improved, his sleep deepened. And one day he said to me, "I didn't realize how numb I felt until I started waking up again." That's the difference. You don't have to give up yogurt or milk. You just have to choose the kind that works with your body, not against it. So next time you're at the store, look beyond the label. Choose clean. Choose hormone-free. Because your body at this age, it's listening, and it's ready to thank you. Before we move into the foods that can restore and rebuild your strength, let me answer a question I've seen from many of you. What about sourdough bread, homemade, no vinegar? Great question, and here's the truth. If you're baking your own sourdough using whole grain flour, natural fermentation, no added sugar, and no industrial yeast or vinegar, it can actually be a decent option. The fermentation process reduces the glycemic load, making it gentler on your blood sugar. But as always, the key is what you're pairing it with. A slice of homemade sourdough with almond butter, much better than white toast with jam. Now, with that cleared up, let's shift, because avoiding the wrong foods is just one side of the coin. The real power, the change you'll feel in your energy, your clarity, even your drive, comes from what you start putting in your body instead. Let me show you 4 foods that don't just support your health, they help you rebuild it. Let's begin where strength starts, your blood. If your circulation is poor, nothing else functions the way it should. Your heart strains, your brain fogs, and let's be honest, your manhood pays the price. So the first food I recommend for rebuilding strength after 60 is wild-caught salmon or sardines. Not farmed, not breaded and fried, wild-caught. Why? Because they're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, powerful compounds that reduce inflammation, improve endothelial function, and support nitric oxide production. One major study showed that omega-3s can improve arterial function by over 2%, which may sound small, but for a man with aging blood vessels, that's the difference between fatigue and flow. I tell my patients to aim for salmon 3 times a week or sardines packed in olive oil 2 to 3 times a week. They're affordable, simple to prepare, and deeply nourishing. Next, steel-cut oats or Ezekiel bread. We talked about this earlier, but it bears repeating. Your blood sugar is the silent switchboard of your hormones. When it spikes and crashes, testosterone drops, inflammation rises, and belly fat accumulates. Steel-cut oats digest slowly, stabilize insulin, and are packed with soluble fiber that helps reduce LDL cholesterol. Top your oats with chia seeds, blueberries, or cinnamon, not only for taste, but for antioxidants that support nitric oxide and reduce vascular stress. Ezekiel bread is your toast upgrade. It's made from sprouted grains, rich in fiber and protein, and doesn't send your insulin on a roller coaster ride. Third, homemade meals with pink Himalayan or sea salt. Cooking at home doesn't mean fancy, just real. A pan, some olive oil, lean protein, veggies, whole grain, and instead of loading it with hidden sodium, you add a pinch of natural salt, pink Himalayan or sea salt. These aren't miracle salts, but they contain trace minerals like potassium and magnesium that support vessel relaxation and fluid balance. One study even found that magnesium-rich diets were associated with lower arterial stiffness in older adults. Last but not least, organic Greek yogurt or plant-based milk. If you want to support digestion, hormone balance, and your prostate, this is one of the simplest swaps you can make. Organic plain Greek yogurt is packed with probiotics that support your gut, the very place where hormone regulation starts. Meanwhile, almond or oat milk gives you the calcium and vitamin D without the hormone disruptors found in conventional dairy. Together, these 4 foods create a foundation. They don't just reduce harm, they help rebuild the systems inside you. So here's your move. Don't try to change everything today. Just pick one. One food, one swap. Make salmon instead of sausage. Try oats instead of toast. Cook a real meal this weekend. Replace the milk in your fridge with something your body actually welcomes. Because when you nourish your body the right way, it remembers how to be strong. I've sat across from hundreds of men, fathers, husbands, veterans, each carrying the quiet frustration of feeling like they're fading. Some blame themselves, some blame age. Most just feel lost. But here's what I want you to know. This isn't your fault. No one taught you how to eat for the man you are now. No one explained how the foods you trusted might be the very ones holding you back. And yet, here you are, still curious, still fighting, still showing up. That means something. What you put on your plate at this age has power. It can either keep you stuck or help you rise. Today, you've seen 4 foods that silently sabotage your strength, and 4 simple, powerful options that can bring it back. This isn't about a diet. It's about taking back control of your body, one meal at a time. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin. So here's my challenge to you. Tonight, when you open your fridge or stand at the stove, ask yourself one question. Is this fueling the man I want to be? Because it can. And when it does, you'll feel it. If this message spoke to you, if even one part helped you see yourself or your health differently, hit the like button. Share it with someone who needs it. A brother, a friend, a father. And if you want more real doctor-backed health advice made for men over 60, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. This channel exists because of you, and I'll be right here to walk this next chapter with you every step of the way.